This is not breaking news. This is not a scandal. This is not about one person. This is about something far more dangerous, something unfolding right now. An energy shift that could destabilize economies, change power structures, upend everything. And it's happening so quietly that most of the world won't notice until it's already too late. What if I told you that in the icy, remote corners of the Arctic, one country led by one man has been setting the stage for a global energy heist? A heist involving 50 trillion cubic meters of natural gas, enough to fuel the entire planet for decades. And while Europe thought it could punish Russia by cutting off gas purchases, Putin had already made his move. In fact, he's now building an energy empire that doesn't need Europe at all. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn is going to change the way you see the global economy, and you might wish you'd paid attention sooner. Before we go any further, hit that like button. Trust me, this is going to get more important than you realize. So, who controls the world's energy supply now? It's not Europe, it's not the United States, and it's certainly not the consumers who need power to fuel their economies. The global energy system, your energy, is no longer dictated by traditional powers or alliances. What's happening right now is far beyond a simple trade dispute. It's a shift in the balance of power. A shift that's unfolding in the Arctic, where the future of global energy is quietly being rewritten. And the architects of this new order aren't who you think. They're not politicians. They're not diplomats. They're not the bureaucrats in Brussels or Washington. No. The real power is now in the hands of two unlikely players, Russia and China. Together, they've formed an alliance that's fundamentally transforming the global energy landscape. While Europe banned Russian gas, Russia quietly pivoted. They've been building a parallel energy empire that doesn't rely on Europe or its sanctions, a new world order where the rules are being rewritten in real time. But the real danger isn't just that Russia is outplaying Europe. It's what comes next. Because this isn't just a story about gas. This is a story about control. You've been told this is temporary, that the energy crisis will pass. But here's the truth. Slow changes are often the most dangerous. The world was told that energy independence was on the horizon. Europe thought it could break free from Russian gas, and the global markets assumed this would all stabilize. But what if I told you that the real shift began over a decade ago, and it's already too late to reverse it? Back in the mid-2000s, while European politicians were making speeches about energy independence, Russia was already preparing for the future. They weren't just sitting on gas reserves. They were building infrastructure, massive LNG facilities in the frozen Arctic, investing in military outposts, quietly positioning themselves to bypass Europe entirely. What Russia was doing then, back when this seemed like an impossible, distant shift, has now become the reality we're facing today. But the problem is bigger than just gas reserves or pipelines. It's the system that Russia built, a system that's now too entrenched to challenge without enormous consequences. Here's where it gets even more chilling. In October 2021, Putin sat down with Russia's energy giants Gazprom and Novatek. Behind closed doors, they made a chilling declaration. Russia controls over 50 trillion cubic meters of natural gas in the Yamal-Nenets region alone. That's more than enough to power the world for decades, just from one field, one single field. But this isn't about the gas, not really. What's happening in the Arctic is much more profound. Russia is no longer depending on pipelines that run through Europe. They're liquefying gas, loading it onto massive ice-breaking tankers, and shipping it across the globe, bypassing European borders completely. This isn't just energy. It's a new power structure. And Europe, they can't stop it. They can't block ships in international waters. They can't sanction gas that's being sold to China. Russia has unlocked a global supply chain they can control, and Europe is no longer part of it. Before I go any further, if this is the first time you're hearing this, I need you to hit subscribe right now. This is a game changer, and it's only going to get more critical. Let's get into how this actually works. What you're not hearing about in mainstream news is that Russia's Arctic pivot isn't just about selling gas, it's about transforming the global supply chain. Russia is now a competitor in the LNG market, not just a supplier. They've built a massive, self-sustaining infrastructure to control their gas exports, bypassing European and Western scrutiny. And it's not just about energy anymore, it's about leverage. Russia is liquefying its gas and shipping it to international markets, unbound by any pipeline constraints. The Yamal LNG project, already operational, is producing millions of tons per year, fueling China's booming economy. Meanwhile, Europe, it's left scrambling. Even with sanctions and new infrastructure, Russia has a powerful advantage. It controls the Arctic shipping routes, and they're practically immune from any European intervention. Who benefits here? Not Europe, not the West. It's Russia and its ally China that are reaping the rewards of this new global energy empire. And they're not just sending gas, they're sending power. But this isn't just about who wins the energy game. This is about a fundamental shift in global influence. And that shift is about to accelerate. Here's where it gets really urgent. Russia isn't just shipping gas anymore, they're dominating the market. In just 1 year, Russian LNG exports to China surged by an astonishing 143%. That's right, 143%. This is the gas that used to heat homes in Berlin, Paris, and Rome. Now, it's powering factories in Shanghai and Beijing. And Europe? It's locked out. The market is shifting beneath their feet. Every single tanker that sails east instead of west is another blow to Europe's energy security. Russia's Arctic energy empire is expanding at breakneck speed. The Vosto oil project, the Arctic LNG 2 project, these aren't just energy developments, they're military-grade infrastructure. Russia is militarizing the northern sea route, reducing shipping costs by 40%. This isn't just about energy. This is about reshaping the global power map. And here's the kicker. Europe thought it was punishing Russia by banning gas. Instead, Russia has used that very ban to turn itself into an energy superpower. But what happens when the world's second largest economy has an unlimited supply of cheap energy? What happens to the global economy when Europe's energy costs soar and China's remain low? Let's talk about times U asterisk. You might not see it yet, but this is going to affect you personally. When Europe's energy costs stay permanently elevated, it's not just an inconvenience, it's a structural crisis. European manufacturers can't compete with cheaper energy in China. Consumers have less disposable income, entire industries are on the brink of collapse. And it's not just Europe that suffers. You will too. What happens when energy prices soar? Inflation, reduced purchasing power, more pressure on the global supply chain, higher costs for everything. You might already feel it when you fill up your car or pay your electric bill. But that's just the start. This crisis is deepening, and it's spreading faster than you think. This isn't some far-off issue in a political debate. This is about your cost of living, your job, your future. The ripple effects from these energy decisions are about to reshape your daily life in ways you won't see coming. But that's just the human cost. The global ripple is coming next. And it's already started. This isn't just about Europe anymore. This is global. As Europe faces an energy crisis, the effects are rippling across the world. And it's not just energy markets that are feeling it. The geopolitical landscape is shifting as well. Russia and China are no longer just trading partners, they're co-owners of the future. Russia is feeding China's energy hunger with cheaper gas, while China continues to invest heavily in Russia's Arctic infrastructure. This partnership is reshaping global energy security in real time, and the West is playing catch-up. As Europe faces energy shortages and surging prices, China is locking in discounted energy deals and securing its manufacturing base. Meanwhile, the United States is trying to hold on to its own energy advantage. But as the global LNG market tightens, competition is increasing, and Europe is getting squeezed out. This isn't just a regional issue anymore. This is the unfolding fracture of the old world order. The Arctic isn't just an energy frontier, it's the new battleground for global power. But it doesn't stop here. What comes next could define the future of the global economy, and it's coming fast. So, what happens next? The world stands at a crossroads, and there are 3 distinct paths ahead. Each one will drastically change everything. Asterisk, asterisk, path 1. Adjustment, asterisk, asterisk. In this scenario, the global economy adjusts. The West adapts to a new energy order. Europe finds new sources of energy, diversifies its suppliers, and learns to live with higher energy costs. It's painful, but manageable. Maybe Europe survives. Maybe it doesn't thrive, but it survives. Asterisk, asterisk, path 2, erosion, asterisk, asterisk. In this scenario, things get worse. The energy crisis continues to strain Europe's economy, while China and Russia solidify their dominance. European industries continue to collapse, and the euro weakens further. The West loses its edge in manufacturing, and inflation spirals. The cracks in the global economy widen until they're unfixable. This is a long, painful erosion of Europe's power. Asterisk, asterisk, path 3, rupture, asterisk, asterisk. And then there's the rupture, the worst case scenario. If Europe can't adjust and the economic pressures grow too great, it leads to a catastrophic collapse of the old system, trade wars, energy shortages, a new Cold War. This is where the global financial system fractures and the multipolar world fully takes shape. The consequences of this rupture would be felt for decades. But here's the catch. No one knows which path we'll take. And by the time it becomes clear, it could be too late to prepare. But no matter which path we take, one thing is clear. The demand for safe assets is about to explode. And that takes us to the final chapter of this story. This is the world we're stepping into. The fractures are already here. Russia's Arctic gas pivot is just the beginning. The global energy system is shifting, and the old order is collapsing. Europe's energy costs will remain high. The euro will weaken. The global economy will feel the shockwaves. And if you're not prepared, you'll be caught in the wake. You have options, but you need to act now. Gold, silver, precious metals, they're the safe haven when everything else is in flux. Central banks around the world are loading up on gold for a reason. They see the future and they're preparing. It's time you do the same. Physical gold and silver for long-term protection, ETFs for liquidity, mining stocks for leverage, energy sector investments for diversification. These are your paths forward, and each one carries its own risks and rewards. But here's the critical point. Asterisk, don't ignore what's happening. Asterisk, the global energy crisis, the weakening euro, the fracture of the financial system. This is happening now, not in 5 years. And if you wait too long, it might be too late. So ask yourself, what are you going to do with the information you have? Because right now, you're ahead of the curve, but that won't last forever. Drop a comment right now. Gold, if you think gold hits $10,000 first, or silver, if you think silver breaks $70 an ounce. Let's talk about the future, because the decisions we make today will define tomorrow. And if this video made you think, if it's given you clarity on how to protect yourself in the coming storm, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and keep yourself informed. Stay sharp, stay ahead, stay protected.